and welcome to another episode of In Conversation with Alethia. I am your host, Alethia O'Hara Stevenson. In this show, I sit down with amazing individuals in our community who are doing incredible and inspiring things. This show will educate, it will empower, and it will inspire you. Today, I am honored to have an amazing community leader, an educator, and an author in our midst. Her name is Dorrett Homer. She recently penned 2 children's books, and today she's here to share her special journey with us about one. Welcome to the show, Dorrett.
Thank you. It is such a privilege to be here with you.
Thank you. I'm so happy that you said yes. And the reason why we are here today is to talk about your journey and the special children's book that you recently published called Hi, Miss Homer.
Yes. Yes, it has been a journey indeed, publishing my book, just getting my book out there in the public, in different institutions, in the educational institution, from the writing process to illustration, picking the right illustrator for my book, placing it on the right platforms. It's just such a journey, and I'm so grateful that the book is available now.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yes, that's an incredible accomplishment.
Thank you.
Before we get into all of the other great details, share with us a little bit about your background. I understand that you're a mom and a grandma.
Okay. Well, I am a person that I wear many hats. And so my name is Dorrett, as you mentioned, Dorrett Homer. I am married to my husband for over 28 years. I have 3 children.
Wow.
And I am also a grandmother to my little grandson, Cairo. He is 2 years old.
Nice, congrats.
Yes. And I am also, what many people don't know is that I'm also an ordained minister.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I am also an ordained minister as well. Yes.
Lovely.
Thank you.
And I understand that you hail from Kingston, Jamaica.
Oh, yes. Even though I immigrated from Jamaica many, many years ago, over 40 years ago, yes, I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. I'm from a very large family. I have 5 brothers, and there are 3 girls. So the family is really, really huge. And so I am the 6th in line from a family of 8 children.
Wow.
So my mom uprooted the family in the 70s and brought us here to Canada. So it was a total different, it was a culture shock when we came here. So I've been here over 40 years, and Canada has been my home. I really love Jamaica, but Canada has also been my home. Because I live here, I've lived here longer than I've lived in Jamaica. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's neat. Interesting background. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Now, I understand that you're also an educator, and that was where you decided to share snippets of your classroom with our audience and in your book, Hi, Miss Homer. Can you just walk us through that journey? Why, first of all, why did you decide to share?
Okay, Alethia, I have been an educator. I have been in the education field for over 16 years. And during those years, I've come across so many students from various backgrounds and cultures and with different abilities. And so each time I meet a student, the student is usually surprised to see a teacher with a physical disability. And so the students, they do have questions. They want to know, Miss, what is wrong with your arm? Were you born like that? Was it a car accident? They don't know, right? And so the kids, I've taught kids from different levels, from primary, junior level, intermediate level, to even up to high school. And so I've always received questions from my students. They always want to know. So that's just the beginning of the idea around my book. But it didn't just started with a book idea. It started with an idea of writing a skit, an idea of writing a bit of drama, because my kids wanted to know, and I felt that I needed to fill them and to let them know as much about my disability as possible. So they would come to me individually. Sometimes they come in pairs because they don't know if I would be upset because they want to know. So I welcome their questions. And so it started from that. And I thought, maybe if I could persuade the school boards, if I could write a skit or a drama and bring it into the schools and do a presentation. You know, when they have like school assemblies and so forth, bring that into the school. And so try to reach a larger audience rather than one or two students. So I wanted to reach a larger audience of students so that they could participate, they could see me in person, and they could ask questions. So that is what the intent was.
Okay.
And so I started writing my skit, and COVID happened. And then COVID extended for a longer period of time. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't think this idea is going to work anymore. I don't think I'll be able to get into the school system and present my desire of letting the students see me and have that, you know, that talk with them. And so the idea came about, why don't you just write a book? Why don't you convert what you have in from drama or a skit into a book? And I was like, okay, that sounds good. So immediately I started writing my book. I started writing, and it took me about 2.5 hours to write my book. And the only reason why it took me 2.5 hours is because it's my personal story.
Right.
It's not anything that was embellished or fabricated. It was just natural. It was just organic. It was just about me. And so I wrote my book because I wanted to share my realities within the educational system, within an institution where teachers with a physical disability are underrepresented.
Yes.
So students don't get to see a teacher with a physical disability. I mean, they see students in a wheelchair. Someone might have a spinal bifida, cerebral palsy, visually impaired, and so they are accustomed to that. But to see their actual teacher in the school system, in front of them teaching, it's something new to them. So I wanted, you know, to draw awareness to me within the school system and to show that we are underrepresented. I don't know the reason for that. Another reason why I wanted to write my book also is to encourage parents who have a child with a physical disability. And they're worried and they're wondering, you know, what will life be like for my son or my daughter out there? So I want them to see that there is hope. There is someone in front of you, in front of your daughter, who has a physical disability that was able to make it. And you know, also I wrote the book also because I want my students, I wanted to give them permission to ask questions.
That's great.
I wanted them to know that it's only natural, and we're all in it to learn. You can learn from me, and I can learn from you, and it's not just from a book.
That's incredible. I love that. And you know, as the students are curious, many adults, you know, are also curious and may not know how to approach and ask the questions. So I'm happy that you were able to share that book and enlighten us. When I look at you know, the book that you shared with us, you talk about the fact that it's called a congenital birth defect. Can you just elaborate a little bit on what that is? Because it sounds so foreign. It sounds so, you know.
Well, basically, congenital birth defect is a form of abnormality that started in the intrauterus, the beginning of life.
Right.
And so it stems, or it could be caused from something that you inherit from your lineage, from your bloodline. Or if not, it could be from different factors, environmental factors, and so forth. When I look back and check back into my background, there's no one in my family going way back that has this condition.
Right.
So I am the only person in my bloodline with this congenital defect. And so, because it is not inherited, so it's not, I did not inherit it from anyone. It has not been passed down. Anything has been passed down to me. So this is the reason why my 3 children, they were born normal, quote unquote,
Right.
without a physical disability or birth defect. And even my grandson, he doesn't have the same condition as I do. But over the years, before my mom passed away, I did speak with her, and I just wanted to get a little background, you know,
Right.
what do you think happened and so forth. And so she shared some, you know, something with me. And when I look back now, I realize, yeah, that could be true, even though I don't have proof. But I think that it could be, I believe I'm leaning on her, what she told me.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank
'Cause I'm
you.
sure many people would be very curious as to what a congenital birth defect is. And clearly it hasn't hindered you in any way, shape, or form to perform your day-to-day activities.
No, I haven't allowed it. For me personally, I don't play a disability card. That is not in my vocabulary. I don't play. I just get up and I do whatever I can do. I remember when I was a little, someone said to me, if Dorrett had her both hands, she would move heaven and earth. Because I just jump around and I do what I can do to make myself happy,
Right.
to feel independent, and to move forward in life. Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that, you know, either you referred to it or maybe it was a quote as different ability, not disability, right? And I
Right.
think you exemplify that because
Right.
here you are and you're demonstrating to your students day in and day out that you are capable.
That's
You
right.
mentioned that you were able to do your own hair, do your own nails. Like these are simple things that everyone takes for granted, but at the same time, the expectation is that you would not be able to. And here you are.
And
proof
here
that
I am.
You can.
Exactly. Here I am. I do whatever I can. I mean, you might not, for example, tie my shoelace. I might not tie my shoelace the way you tie your shoelace, but you know what?
It gets done.
It gets done. I take an alternative way of tying my shoelace, and so it's done. The job is done.
Absolutely perfect. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And I know that you've had a number of students come up to you and ask you questions. What is that like, feeling just to share with them?
Oh, it's such an honor, honestly, because do you know how they, and I'm not sure if this is an appropriate term, how they like to use this term, the elephant in the room, and nobody wants to talk about something even though it's there. So I love it when my children, when my students come up to me and they ask me questions about my arm. That just tells me they're interested. They want to learn. They want to know. And who else is better to tell them than the person that is live in person?
That's perfect.
They're not reading it from a storybook. They're
love
not
that.
reading from something that happened 20, 40 years ago. This is someone that is live and in person in front of them.
I love
So
that.
I enjoy
Okay.
educating my students.
I'm going to
Yeah.
pause right there because we're going to take a short break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with a conversation with Dorrett Homer talking about and celebrating life with a different ability. Welcome back to In Conversation with Alethia. I'm joined in the studio by Dorrett Homer, author and educator. Thank you so much again, Dorrett, for
Thank you.
having the conversation with me. So we left off talking about your students and how they were able to ask you questions. Leading off of that, were there any misconceptions around your different ability?
Oh yeah. Lots of misconceptions, not by students, but I find even more so with adults. Yes. So some of the misconceptions that I have faced is that someone with a physical disability will rely on the system. they cannot help themselves. They will need the government to support them. Another misconception is that you're not capable of having sexual relationships and have a family. They believe that your disability defines who you are, and that you cannot be a contributing member to society. You're not of the working class. And so and also that you're not capable of acquiring or obtaining some skills or be licensed in a profession or in a trade and carry out a normal productive life as anyone else. So those are some of the misconceptions that I have come across during my life.
And so here you are, you've obtained your bachelor's in education.
Yes.
You've obtained your bachelor's in theology,
Yes.
and you're now an accomplished author. So
Yes,
the
exactly.
proof is right here.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Not to mention you are an inspiring educator, inspiring millions of children now globally, not just in your classroom, right, but right across.
Right across the board, yes.
Wow.
For sure, yes.
That's incredible. And your journey by itself is quite incredible and inspiring to think that, you had obstacles that were placed in your path, and yet you were able to overcome them and achieve and continue on the path of excellence to achieve great things. So I'm sure your students have been very inspired, and your children.
Yes, my my children, my husband is behind me 100%. My
Love
children, especially my oldest son, he considers me as his inspiration.
Aww.
He's such a go-getter because I consider myself as a go-getter. Like I said, I don't use the disability card. I don't play that card at all. And so I just operate and function the best of my ability. That's how I operate in life, to
That's
achieve
perfect.
what I want to achieve in life.
Were there any, challenges that you had to, overcome? So, aside from, your different ability, but were there any other challenges as a result that you had to overcome? And
in all honesty, the challenges that I had to overcome is not one of a task-oriented or to execute something. Like I said before, I figured a way how to overcome. I figured out a way how to do something differently so that I can achieve and accomplish. So it's not really so much I can't tie my lace, or I can't ride a bicycle, I can't swim, or I can't put in my earring. That's not the challenges. It's part of it, but it's a minute part. My biggest challenge, however, is the misconceptions
right.
from people, their baseless opinions and ignorance about someone with a disability. And it goes on and on and on. You know how they say, never judge a book by its cover?
Yes.
But even though they say never judge a book by its cover,
People still do.
people still do judge you by the cover, by you, what they see in front of you. So they form all these baseless opinions about you before they even know you. And so I think that's my biggest challenge, like the ignorance of people about people with a physical disability. I remember one time I met someone for the first time, and I was introduced, and I said to the person that I have 3 children. And then the next question, when you meet someone and someone say, I have 3 children, what would the next question you would ask the person?
Congratulations, how old are they? What are their names, right?
I did not receive that question. Do you know the question that I got? The question was, are they your biological children?
Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
That's the ignorance that I have to deal with, like, consistently.
And
yeah.
I think, that is unfortunate that, you've had to experience it. I am sorry that you've had to experience that. But, there's also power in you being able to share your story right now, right?
Yes.
1, it will serve to educate. And 2, it will also serve to empower others who, may be faced with different abilities, right? To say, to be proud and to own it.
Definitely. And this is why I said I want parents to see that they have an educator in the school, in front of their child, teaching and educating them, who face some of the challenges that their child faced with a physical disability. Not only someone that has a physical disability, but even a child that doesn't have a challenge or a physical disability or any form of disability. They can see and they can learn about methods, they can learn about inclusion, they can learn about acceptance, they can learn about diversity. It could be part of the my book could be included to be part of the learning tool, a resource to help students develop all these things that are so needed in the school system, because we want to start with students at a very young age.
That's powerful. And, I think you've also allowed, individuals now to be comfortable to say, ask questions, respectfully, of course, but that's the only way that you're able to educate and seek to understand.
Exactly. Perfectly. I want to give them permission to ask questions.
Wow.
I find that adults, they want to know, but they don't know if they ask me questions, if it would offend me, their questions would offend me. They want to be politically correct. Right. They don't want to hurt my feelings. They don't want me to feel embarrassed. And so they don't ask the questions they want to ask. But I find that the students, they're so curious. They're so curious and they want to learn, and so they come at me with their questions, and I just welcome that.
That's beautiful. Yes. That's beautiful. And I'm glad you touched on that, because even when we were having our initial conversation, I wasn't sure how to, have the conversation with you, because I didn't want to put you on the spot and make you uncomfortable. But in doing that, you quickly reassured me that, you welcome the conversation. And here we are today. We're able to talk candidly about your different ability, your gift. I'm going to call it your gift, because essentially that's what it is, right? We each and every one of us have a unique gift, and yours happen to be a little bit different, right? And with that gift, you're still able to thrive in this world of ours and help others. So thank you.
Certainly, yes. That is the idea behind the book.
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
I want people to open up and have a dialogue, have healthy discussions. Don't just shove it under the carpet or pretend as if it does not exist. It's not going to change anything. We can move further along in life and make the necessary changes that are necessary to include a more diverse group of people, such as teachers and individuals that are capable to perform.
No, that is brilliant. And I think, if organizations and, different institutions start to look at diversity more with a different lens, the world will be so much richer. Our students are now, receiving the benefit of it, because they're able to see firsthand and ask those candid conversations, ask those candid questions with you.
Yes, for sure. Definitely. And it also, with even colleagues of mine and close friends, sometimes you don't know what they have been through, or some of them, they might not tell you that they have a child with ADHD, ADD, a learning disability or physical disability. But once I begin to open up, they begin to talk. And you could see the burden just like it sheds.
Yes.
They're relieved that I can now open up, and they look at me as some form of a role model, because it's like it gives them hope.
Right.
For their son or their daughter, their loved ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful, because we need to normalize these conversations, and we need to make sure that everyone is included. And the only way to do that is just
most
to be aware, right?
Yes,
and
awareness.
Have these conversations.
Yes, most definitely.
Wow.
For sure. Yes.
Brilliant. I love that.
Thank you.
Now, with your journey and all that you've accomplished, you've been on Good Morning America, you're here now on Rogers, and so many other great things. What do you hope to accomplish with your platform, with your voice?
Well, I would love to see my book journey across the continents, not just in Canada, across the continents, because there are so many different cultures out there, different people to learn from, and we can learn from them as well. So I really want to see my book get out there, the 7 continents of the world.
I love that.
And to know that I made an impact in someone's life. It doesn't matter how small it is. I want to know that I made an impact. It has nothing to do with fame. It has nothing to do with accolades and stuff like that. It's about doing the small stuff to be a difference maker in the life of someone.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I love that. And I can just imagine and seeing it translated into, multiple languages.
I
So
would love to have that.
that's awesome. Well, you've put it out there in the universe, and I
Yes.
truly believe that it will happen. When I think about the impact on, young people and, individuals with different abilities, what message would you want to give to them?
Do you know what? Don't feel embarrassed and don't hide yourself, because for me, as a young person growing up, disabilities, well, someone with a disability, first of all, they believe that it's some kind of bad thing happened to you, or your parents did, and it was, that was a cause for you having a disability, and so people didn't want to be near you or be your friend. And so for a young person, I would say don't shy away, don't hide yourself. I was rather a shy person growing up. Even in the classroom, it was torture for me, because I just didn't want to be there at times. But I loved to learn. I always wanted to learn. But at the same time, it was uncomfortable to be in the classroom, because everybody's looking at me and nobody's asking questions about me. And so it became very uncomfortable. And so I just wanted to hide myself. And so I became very shy. So for a young person who has, any form of disability, don't hide yourself.
Love that.
Love yourself. Showcase yourself. It doesn't matter who is going to look. It doesn't matter who is going to laugh at you.
Perfect.
Love yourself, no matter what. Yes.
I love that. And on that note, we're going to end on a positive note. And we're going to say, love yourself no matter what, whether you're a child with a different ability or an adult who's raising a child with a different ability. Love yourself, live your life to the fullest. And once again, thank you for joining us on In Conversation with Alethia. See you next time. And thank you so much, Dorrett, for joining us.
Thank you.